ESPN came out with an article yesterday that was filled with NFL draft rumors for all 32 teams. So on today's show, we're going to break down and dissect and react to what they wrote for the Cleveland Browns. So let's get started with the first question and topic in this article, which was asked to Jake Trotter, the ESPN Cleveland Browns beat reporter. And that was, what does a successful path to the draft look like for the Browns, who do not have a first-round pick? And here's what Trotter wrote. By finally selecting a high-impact receiver to add to its young, talented core. Despite numerous swings, especially on day 2, the Browns have struggled to find that wideout in recent drafts. Landing a young playmaker will be paramount for the Browns as Pro Bowl wide receiver Amari Cooper turns 30 before next season. And I agree and disagree with what Trotter is saying here. One, I'll just start off by saying I don't think the Browns are going to be going wide receiver at 54, but I'll also give myself an out clause, which is when you pick at 54, you have no idea what you're going to be doing, right? You may have 5 guys that you like a lot, and all 5 could go right before you pick at 54, and you got to quickly develop into a plan B, C, and D. So I can't say, and I don't think anyone should say with definitive, confidence that they know what the Browns are going to be doing at 54, because even the Browns don't know what they are doing at 54. But I do feel pretty, strong about the Browns not going wide receiver at 54. If a stud falls to them, that will probably change their plans. But if things go to their plan, I don't think it is wide receiver, because they just traded and extended Jerry Jeudy. They think Amari Cooper is someone that's going to be here past 2024. They invested a third-round pick last year in Cedric Tillman. Folks in Maria are still very high on Elijah Moore, but he does enter the last year of his contract. So this is a wide receiver room that the top 3 players were all traded for, and I think Andrew Berry wants to see those players get snaps, not draft a rookie who's either going to get buried on the depth chart or potentially steal some snaps away from a guy they traded for. I just don't think wide receiver, as easy as it may sound, because it always sounds good to draft a receiver, no matter the team nor the situation, I don't think that's what the Browns are going to target first in this draft, right? And then, like I said, sure, Amari Cooper's turning 30, but we all agree that he has played his best football the last 2 years of his NFL career. And Andrew Berry at the NFL owners meeting said, look, Coop's a Pro Bowl caliber receiver. He's played really well for us the past 2 years. He's a strong presence in the locker room. We love him. So players like that, you want to make sure that you can retain as long as possible, and we'll work through all that at the appropriate times. So I think the Browns are going to find a way to extend Amari Cooper. They sound motivated to do so. I bet Amari Cooper wants to get a long-term deal as he turns 30 and finding a lot of success in Cleveland right now. But I will give Jake Trotter this. The Browns have had a rough time drafting receivers under Andrew Berry. You can look at the 4 names they've picked so far. Schwartz, bust. DPJ was the best of all of them, and he was the last guy taken around number 6. David Bell, I think, is developing into a solid backup slot receiver. Do you expect more from a third-round pick? Probably, yeah, you do. But I don't think he is this unplayable guy. Cedric Tillman, I think it's too early to grade. He's only played 1 season in the NFL. Very often we see guys have slow starts in their first year and really break out in years 2 and 3. But sure, there's probably a little bit more meat left on the bone from last year. The Browns were desiring out of the third-round pick from Tennessee. But like I was saying earlier, the Browns don't even know who they're taking at pick 54. So sure, wide receiver may look appetizing. You try and load up and get a bunch of stars for Deshaun Watson to throw to, but after the trades they have made the last few seasons, I think that the Browns feel like they have a good wide receiver room, right? Andrew Berry hand-tailored and hand-picked all those wide receivers that he traded for. He used draft capital on those guys. In a way, like those are his draft picks, sort of, right? He used GM currency, draft capital, to go get those players. I don't see him then going to the market the next day and spending more at that exact same position. So I think they will likely go in the trenches. That is kind of my gut feeling here. If they don't trade back, which I would not rule out, and they stay at 54, my suspicion is you can never go wrong with adding more depth to the offense and defensive line. So if you were Andrew Berry and you were calling the shots at pick 54, would you go offense, defense, or would you try and trade back and accumulate more draft picks as the Browns only have 5 picks right now in this draft? Let me know what you think in the comment section. I'm just going to put out there one more time. Watch for a trade back. The Browns traded back in 2022. They landed Martin Emerson in round 3. They traded their second-round pick to get Elijah Moore last year. Andrew Berry not only does not have experience in picking round 1 the last few years, he doesn't have experience in picking round 2 the last few years. So I wouldn't rule out AB going, you know what, this draft is very top-heavy. There are some really good stars in round 1 that we're never going to get a whiff of. And when it comes to round 2 guys going at 54, we like our chances at finding similar talent in round 3 while also picking up an additional draft pick, maybe for next year's draft. So I'm going to float out the watch for the trade back idea right now. Now we're going to react to more rumors from this ESPN article in just a moment. But first, today's show is sponsored by Prize Picks. Daily fantasy made easy, the #1 DFS platform in North America, where all you have to do is select 2 to 6 players and then choose more or less on their projected stats. Now, let me give you an example of what that looks like if you're a little unsure about what more or less really translates to. Take some NFL season-long stat projections. I'm taking the more on Jerry Jeudy's receiving yards. He's gone over 725 yards before in his career. I expect a bigger role for him in Cleveland and a better fit than he had in Denver. I like the more on Myles Garrett at 13.75 sacks. And then just the cynical person in me says, we'll take the less on TJ Watt sacks at 15.25. So if you like my selections, feel free to ride with me. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code CLNS for a first-time deposit match up to $100. If you forgot that already, I put it in the comments and description of today's video. But download Prize Picks today and use code CLNS for a first-time deposit match up to $100. Prize Picks. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. Now, Jordan Reid also joined this ESPN joint effort article for all 32 teams. And here's what he said on what he's hearing involving the Browns in the draft. I've heard the Browns are doing work on the offensive and defensive line classes, and offensive tackle in particular comes up when speaking to league sources about Cleveland. Jack Conklin and Dawand Jones are coming back off knee injuries, and Jedrick Wills is entering the final year of his rookie contract. With that in mind, Roger Rosengarten has versatility, and that could be a good fit. So let's talk about Jed Wills and Jack Conklin and Dawand Jones for a moment here. Let's start with Jack Conklin. Well, I'm not sold that the Browns are going to be running away from Conklin the moment they can. Yes, he's getting older. He's had major knee injuries and overall health issues the last few years, and that's really unfortunate for an all-pro caliber tackle. Turns 30 this season, but he's under contract through 2026, so we've got, including 2024, like 3 years of him under contract, and he's got a $17.7 million dead cap hit in 2025. Andrew Berry, not too long ago, extended Jack Conklin. I don't think he's panicking this quickly after that extension. Now, maybe the injury last year dramatically changes his outlook, but for me, I think the Browns have a much longer leash on these tackles than we, the fans, and some of the media think. As for Jed Wills, he turns 25 in a few weeks/months. He recently had his contract restructured that added 4 void years to it. Now, the Browns did the exact same thing to Jerry Jeudy's contract, and then they extended Jerry Jeudy because those void years, by the way, those are years on a contract that the player is not on the team for, right? If you sign a 5-year, $100 million contract, that's $20 million a season. But if you don't want to budget $20 million for every single season, you could add 2 or 3 void years to it and spread $100 million over 6, 7, or 8 years, lowering the percentage you have to pay out every single year. Does that make sense? So for the Browns, when they did that with Jerry Jeudy, it was quickly met with an extension. To me, I think the Browns adding void years to Jack Conklin's contract shows a good amount of internal belief that he is someone that could receive an extension from this team, and they're going to fill those void years with years that Jed Wills is actually on the team. So everyone's quick to run from Conklin and Wills. By all accounts, the actions coming out of Berea say on the contrary to that. Now, maybe if the Browns fall in love with an offensive tackle, they will go at that direction. The guy that Jordan Reid outlined is Roger Rosengarten. He's 6'5", 308 pounds. He was Michael Penix's right tackle. Now, keep in mind, Penix is a lefty, so he protected his blind side, and I think in NFL terms, he would be a left tackle. That's where he started off, but Washington flopped him once Penix transferred over from Indiana. Now, the down low on Rosengarten is he's got great speed and quickness. He was like the fastest lineman at the combine, but he's not the most sound pass protector in this draft class. So that's something that he needs to work on. And the good news for him and any other tackle being taken by the Browns at 54, they're not going to be tossed into a starting role. Jones, Wills, and Conklin, they're all expected, or at least 2 out of the 3, are expected to be healthy by the time training camp opens up. So he's got a good opportunity to maybe sit for a season and really hone in on his craft. Now, if I was calling the shots and this guy was there at 54, I'd be very interested. It's Kingsley Suamatea. He's 6'4", 326 pounds. He's one of the Andrew Berry profiled guys, 21 years old right now, an incredible RAS score, that's relative athletic score, 9.39. He's a dominant run blocker who is just nasty and physical downhill. It's a little bit like watching Michael Orr in The Blind Side. Like, that's the kind of player you are getting. Now, he doesn't have a ton of experience. He started off at right tackle at BYU. Well, originally started off at Oregon, then transferred very quickly back closer to home at Provo. Started off at right tackle, then switched to left tackle. The consensus around the league is he needs a year to develop. He's a great athletic specimen, but he's probably not ready to walk into an NFL locker room and be a team's week 1 starting tackle. And that's perfectly fine. For the Browns, that's probably something they are pursuing. A guy that could be a little bit of a project that has a higher upside than some of the ready-to-roll starting tackles right now, because they don't need a starting tackle right now. They are looking for a guy that might replace one of their starting tackles down the line. So if there is a team that needs patience, it's the Browns. Or if a team that, I beg your pardon, if there's a team that has some patience with a tackle prospect, it's the Browns. So I think Kingsley could be a really good fit for Cleveland at 54 if they want to go invest in the offensive line. But let me know what you think. Should the Browns draft a tackle? Yes or no? Chime in for me down in the comment section below. Let me know what your thoughts are. All right, before I let you guys get on with your weekend, we got producer Jack Lauderay picking the cards with me. I recently didn't notice, but sometimes when I shuffle, you can see the bottom of the card on screen. I know, so I'm tipping right now, so I'm going to do a better job. Which card do you want to go, Jack?
Let's do, God, I don't know. I'm going to do a 2 of spades.
2 of spades? Okay. I'm going to go with the 2 of diamonds, trying to find a diamond in the rough, pick 54. We ready, kids? All right, here we go. I had the right train of thought. 9 of diamonds. 9 of diamonds. All right. That will conclude our show today. Enjoy your Friday, and I'll see you all later.